In other news, the spokesperson for the Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny has announced that his funeral is to be held this Friday in Moscow. Navalny died suddenly in an Arctic prison earlier this month, and today Navalny's widow, Yulia Navalny, addressed the European Parliament in Brussels, where her words drew a standing ovation. Well, during her speech, Navalny said she feared arrests at the funeral and once again directly blamed Vladimir Putin for her husband's death.
But first, we spent a week getting Alexei's body and organizing funeral. Then I chose the cemetery and coffin. The funeral will take place the day after tomorrow. And I'm not sure yet whether it will be peaceful or whether police will arrest those who have come to say goodbye to my husband.
With me now is our chief foreign editor, Rob Parsons. And Rob, what more do we know about Navalny's funeral on Friday?
Well, we know it's taken an extraordinary amount of effort on the part of those organising the funeral for it to happen at all. We heard Yulia Navalny there mentioning the fact that it had taken over a week to get the body of Alexei Navalny back from the authorities as they tried to blackmail his mother, Lyudmila, into not holding a public ceremony. Eventually, they gave way. It's now going to take place. First of all, there's going to be a public ceremony in Marino, which is just in the south of Moscow, and then at the Borisovsky cemetery, there's going to be the funeral there as well. It's going to be open to the public by all accounts, but it's not at all clear, as we heard her saying just then, that whether or not the authorities will make it difficult for people to get to the funeral itself, whether they'll put obstacles in the way of the roads leading to the cemetery or not, that sort of thing. But you know what is clear, I think, is that the authorities are going to continue to go and make life as difficult as they possibly can for anybody who wants to express any sort of support. The fact, for instance, that it's taking place at the Borisovsky cemetery, right in the southern corner of Moscow, at least half an hour away from the centre on metro, is an indication of just what they're trying to achieve. This is not the sort of normal ceremony you would expect, funeral you expect for a man of such prominence and fame as Alexei Navalny. There will be a ceremony somewhere in the centre, one of the more famous cemeteries. It's not going to happen. They are determined to try and make this as quiet as possible. It should have happened, incidentally, on Thursday, but Vladimir Putin is due to address the upper house of the Russian parliament on Thursday, the Federal Assembly. And the fear, I think, in the Kremlin was that a funeral of somebody as prominent as Alexei Navalny would take away from the impact of Putin's speech.
And speaking of Putin, Rob, is it likely now, given Navalny's death, that the Russian president will kind of ease up in his determination to crush dissent in Russia? No,
I think is the simple answer to that. He's going to use this to clamp down even harder. The fact, the nature of the way in which he is, first of all, crushed Alexei Navalny, the constant harassment, the frequent imprisonments, the poisoning of him, his banishment eventually to this terrible prison camp in the Arctic North, where he eventually died, the refusal to give the body back to his mother, Lyudmila, until a lengthy struggle had taken place to get it back. The fact that other prominent leaders like Vladimir Karamurza, who's been in prison for the last few years and is going to be in prison for 25, is being treated appallingly as well. Another man who was poisoned. The fact that, for instance, just this week, Oleg Orlov, one of the members of Memorial, which won the Nobel Peace Prize for its defense of human rights in Russia, has been sent to prison for allegedly discrediting the Russian army. Gives everybody in Russia who is thinking of dissent a very clear indication. Don't even think about it if you want to stay out of prison, which makes it even braver to see the widow of Alexei Navalny, Yulia Navalny, setting herself forward as the focal point of dissent in Russia, although it's completely out of the question that she'll ever go back to Russia until this regime comes to an end.
All right.